Hello, busy dads and busy people everywhere. I'm out here in the garden in London, England, with Alan the Rhino, my trusty companion, and I thought I would just take this time to give you all an update about where I'm at right now and to briefly reflect on my own training year and maybe draw out some lessons that could be of value to all of us. So, if you know me at all, you'll know that I place an enormous emphasis on training consistency. I've built the Busy Dad program to make such a minimal temporal time requirement on you in any given week that it will be easy to stay consistent year round, and that's because I think consistency is really everything when it comes to making progress in training. And so you'll know that I do not take lightly the fact that this week, for the first time since I started the Busy Dad program, I have forfeited all 80 of my minutes. I will not be training. I considered training today, but I'm just not there. My whole family has COVID right now, and it's hit us pretty hard. And while I know that there is a way that I could put in a session, I'm convinced that doing so would exhaust me further and delay my recovery. And right now, because my daughter is struggling especially, my energy is at a premium. I've opted not to do anything that might compromise my energy, even at the expense of my most valued my most prized value of consistency, training consistency. So I've given up a week for the first time in 2 years and 9 months since I started the Busy Dad program. It doesn't feel good, but I have my own training consistency to thank for a very good training year. It gives me pleasure to reflect on some of the victories of this year as well as the setbacks. The wonderful thing about never missing a week is that when the months turn into a year, you can look back over 12 months and there will be so many training victories, so many training journeys to reflect on, such richness and complexity in your experience with your training. You can't possibly have that if at the 12-month mark you look back and you have a checkered year. You have 1 month on, 1 month off, 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off. That consistency makes for a very satisfying review. And it was a big year for me. I started the year after a really tough December, behind on my 6 counts, behind on my seals. I was at about 130 seals, and by I think April I had graduated the Busy Dad program, which was definitely the training achievement of my life so far. That was 150 10-count Navy SEALs in 20 minutes, 325 6-count burpees in 20 minutes. These are workouts that I never thought I would be able to complete in those time frames. I really set them as like the horizontal point of my training, never thinking I would get there, and to my shock I did get there. After that, I moved into the Busy Dad program 2.0. The idea was to introduce a new training variable, the weighted vest. I made it up to level 4 with the Busy Dad training 2.0. That kind of petered out a little bit when I introduced the Busy Dad mass building program, which is this 4-week program revolving around dumbbells and barbells. By the time I was done with that, I'd put on a little bit of weight, and I think that held me back a little bit in my burpee practice. I also felt this strong inner desire to just return to the basics and embrace the Busy Dad program again. And when I did, I found that maybe because of the extra muscle mass I was carrying, there was a bit of body mass resistance. I was a long way from the numbers I'd been at. I was trapped back in level 4 of the Busy Dad program. And in late October, I was really rediscovering my original passion for burpee training and my training practice when I got this injury, result of one idiotic action, punching a heavy bag with no wraps. I got a fracture on my wrist and I wasn't able to train. And to be perfectly honest with you, my friends, even after the couple of very light burpee sessions I put in this December, I was having some pretty bad wrist pain afterwards. So I've created a real problem for myself there. But you know, one of the training victories of the last year for me was the way that I was able to approach this injury period without losing focus or intentionality. And what I did there was I told myself, let's turn this injury into a period of opportunity. You can't train burpees, what can you do? Well, for a long time I had a phobia around running. And so I decided to attack that phobia in the way that you attack any training phobia, which is you just do it every day until it's completely familiar and domesticated, and that's what I did with running. I also used that time to cut, and even now after a Christmas of excess and indulgence, I'm still walking around at around about 160 pounds. So I was able to move to a new body weight, which I think is going to hold me and serve me well in the coming year. So that's where I am at the end of my year. I'm not as fit now in some ways as I was in April. I mean, those numbers that I was hitting back in April are incomprehensible to me now. Right now, as of my last burpee workout, I'm barely in level 3 of the Busy Dad program. So, and I'm also barely scratching the surface with running. For the new year, I want to try and take my fitness to a completely new level. Again, keep building. But I think, looking back, I made an error when I journeyed away from the Busy Dad program. I don't think I needed to add the weighted vest. And while I think that the mass building program was an interesting experiment, it was a distraction. In terms of calisthenics, the Busy Dad program has everything you need. I'm more convinced of that than ever, because I believe I was fitter and stronger at the point when I graduated the Busy Dad program than I was at any other point in the year when I introduced the bells and the whistles. They didn't help. They didn't take my fitness to a new level. I wasn't able to just return to the Busy Dad program and effortlessly graduate as I thought I would be able to. Far from it. Joe Hortai once asked me, what will you do when you graduate the Busy Dad program? And now I really have the answer. Keep graduating. So my first big training goal for the coming year, when this hand allows me to attack that goal, is to graduate my program again and keep graduating. I don't just want to be at the level of fitness required to graduate for one random week. I want to be there as a state of being. And that's going to take work. I also have running goals. I'm creating a program, Busy Dad style, to help me achieve them. And they are twofold. I want to run 5 kilometers in 20 minutes or less. And I want to run 1 mile in 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Those are my goals for the year. My longer term goals are to run 5 kilometers in 18 minutes and to run 1 mile in 5. When I get to those goals, I'll be pleased, and then I'll reassess. Next year will be a stepping stone on that journey, and I hope that by the end of 2024, I'll have reached those running goals. It's going to be a tricky challenge to think about how to respect my principles of time efficiency while pursuing 2 distinct training goals at once. That's not something I've done before. I've always been single-mindedly devoted to burpee training, and that will be tricky. I still need to think about how to make that work, but I'll find a way. I'm excited about the coming year. I'm proud of the last year, and perhaps most of all, I'm incredibly grateful to all of you for coming along with me for the ride, for entering into your own journey with the Busy Dad program. You've really enriched my experience, you've taught me a lot, and you've helped me hold myself accountable. So thanks to all of you for a good training year. And let's embrace the new year with a mindset of curiosity, excitement. Let's not place limits on ourselves. Let's chase goals. Let's train hard. It can only make us better people. So my friends, thanks for a wonderful year. Here's to 2023. I'll see you all again soon. That's all from me.